are back on our second episode. I love it here so much. I think it's a nice change of pace, honestly. Like, YouTube feels so vulnerable. It feels real, like you can't hide in the little edits. And I like this. It's a really good way of genuinely connecting to other people. That's the whole point of this, is what I'm trying to do here, is offer my company to someone. Offer my thoughts to someone. It's food for thought. I don't want to come off as, quote unquote, a know-it-all, okay? Because Sean called me a know-it-all in the last video, but he means it in like a very different way. Like, when it comes to me and him, like, I rarely ever apologize. I'm like stubborn. But I never want anyone to think that I'm coming from an angle of I know more than you. I think I'm like obsessed with everyone having their own brains. And to me, that means everyone is living in a different world. Like, legitimately, people do things every day. Someone could be sitting right next to me and do something on a daily basis that I never in a million years would do. And it genuinely just feels like I'm living in a different world than everyone else. And I think it's so cool. And I love listening to podcasts and long YouTube videos because it lets me enter another person's world and it can change my perspective. So that's all I'm trying to do here, is offer food for thought, a new perspective, a challenging opinion maybe. And I'm always open to learning, growing. Of course, I feel like I have to address the elephant in the room, and that is TikTok. Is it getting banned? Is it not? I have no fucking idea at the moment. It's literally every hour is a new update and it goes back and forth and back and forth. I am in denial. I don't think it's gonna get banned. I hope it does not, because I do not want to live in a country where an app can get banned. How terrifying is that? I used to think only communist countries did that, and now I could be potentially living in one of those countries. But I really hope that the people understand that this is so much bigger than just an app. This is only the beginning. We need to exercise our freedom of speech, our right to protest the government. These are rights for a reason. They're to be used. When they are harmed, when they're being challenged, we have to exercise them. Obviously, I'm just fucking sitting here on my couch, right? So I'm not out there protesting, but I know there are people in DC right now doing everything they can to fight for this app. And to everyone that's like, oh my God, you're gonna have to go get a real job now. It's like, I never had a real job to begin with. Long before TikTok, I've been unemployed. So this isn't gonna do much. Well, I can't lie, I'll be honest, okay? When it comes to TikTok paying me, like directly from the creativity program, I make anywhere from like $4,000 to $5,000 a month. I think at one point I did make, there was 1 month where I made like 10,000, which was really rare. With sponsorships, I make anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 each time I post a sponsored video. Obviously that varies every month, like how many sponsorships I do, but the creativity program is a really good solid foundation. And the sponsorships are obviously really nice too. You can get a bunch of them in a month and make a ton of money, or you can make like 1 or 2 sponsorships and it'll be good money either way, right? Especially because I made $0 before TikTok, right? So, because I'm a stay-at-home mom, by the way. I have a job, it's a very important job, being a mom, but that doesn't pay. So anything that TikTok gave me was always extra. We never built our life on that income. Literally, like our house, our car, those are the only 2 loans we have. And they all came from Sean's income. So yeah, obviously I'd be losing money, but it's not as much about the money as it is the principle of the app getting banned and the community that I don't want to lose so bad. Like, I literally recognize like my followers' usernames at this point, and I really don't want to lose them. I want it to be even. Actually, let me make sure.
Should I take this off?
All right, now that we have Sean here, we're gonna get to our first topic of the day. The Massachusetts Underground Railroad reenactment scandal. And I didn't realize it was a scandal until I talked about this 2 years ago in a TikTok, and it went really viral, and it still gets comments and likes every day. People always want to know more about this, and a lot of people don't believe me. And apparently it's kind of like just a New England type experience. I know it happened in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. So we are going to share our experience with the Underground Railroad reenactment. Just tell them what the Underground Railroad is first.
So the Underground Railroad during slavery in the United States, prior to the Civil War, was a route with safe houses along the way to help keep you hidden from police or people that knew you were a runaway slave that could then capture you. So it was, Harriet Tubman is famous for freeing a bunch of slaves, and she was like a big leader in leading people through the Underground Railroad. It wasn't actually a railroad. It was just, it was so underground, and
Was it underground?
No, it was just
So it wasn't underground or a railroad?
No,
Railroad.
neither, no.
Why'd they call it that?
Because it was so like...
Low-key?
It was such a good, successful path, like a railroad, and it was so kept in hush-hush that it was underground.
Low-key path?
They could have called it low-key path.
Low-key pathway?
Yeah, and people would be there along the way that owned houses, and they would have hiding spots and would get you to a free state.
So the goal was to take the slaves and sneak them all the way to a free state.
All the way to a free state.
So they could be free.
Yep.
With that being said, now that we all know exactly what it is, we had to reenact that when we were 10 years old in 5th grade. We went to nature's classroom for 5 days, 4 nights. It was like my first experience away from home. And so I didn't care. I was kind of an outlier though. A lot of my friends cared. They didn't want to leave home. They were homesick. They missed their mom and dad in their bed. And so that on top of reenacting the Underground Railroad at night in the middle of the woods in New Hampshire was really unsettling to a lot of little girls especially. But not only was it unsettling in like the scary way, it was also just, people are debating in the comments and in the video I made whether it's morally correct to make children pretend that they're slaves. And then the adults are the slave owners, where they pretend that they're going to find you and capture you and bring you all the way back to being a slave and punish you. And they yell at you. And basically my experience was, I don't remember it that well. I just remember walking in the woods, holding a rope. You had to be so quiet. That was the thing. If you stepped on like a leaf or something, your leader would get so mad. So the counselors did like the volunteer work of being the leaders, I think. And then like they were like the Harriet Tubmans, and we were all just following their footsteps. And then I remember we went into a safe house, and then we all had to hide in the cabinets because a slave owner was about to walk in. And they were so in character this whole time, like they were screaming. The slave owners walked in, started banging on the cabinets that were in. Some kids were crying. I didn't care. Like that's why I didn't want to do the news article, because like, I can't speak for other people. I just know that I didn't care that much. But my friends were really scared. And then afterwards we went back in the woods. I think we made it. Like we made it to freedom. I remember that was the end. I don't think anyone didn't.
Oh, there were kids in my class that didn't.
What happened to them?
There was kids that in the cabinet when they were hiding, they like blurted out something, or they like started laughing, or trying to be funny.
So what happened?
They got captured.
And then what? You don't know where they went?
They still made it to.
You never saw them again?
Yeah. No, they were fine. They probably ended up at the same spot. They probably
got sent back to the cabin or something.
Yeah, I think so.
So
I think they actually had something that they tried to encourage us to not get caught. They were like, okay, if you get caught, that's fine, but you're going to be going back and taking like a math test or something. They had something. They
didn't want you to take the easy way out.
Yeah, so if you got caught, you had to go back and do like math. We got woken up in the middle of the night by.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so it was after the dance party. Let's talk about the dance party.
Yeah, so we had a dance party.
So this is the last night of Nature's Classroom. We're there for 4 nights. So on the 4th night, we have this giant party.
Yep, and we're all dancing. And
a bunch of 10-year-olds just having a dance party.
yeah, and it was a good time, and everyone's hype afterwards, you know. And then we're all sleeping. We hear knocking on the door, and it was the slave owner or the plantation owner. He says, "It's time to work. Everybody get out. It's time to work." So we all like walked in a line, and we were going to work. And I can't remember if we were actually doing like mock work for a sec, just to like, like pretending to like hit the ground. We're walking down the hallway, and we make it to outside, and the plantation owners are outside, and they're screaming, "Get in line! Don't look at me! Look down!" And
Oh yeah, I remember that.
"Look ahead of you! Look down! Don't look at me!" And they're being very hardcore and like harsh. They're like, "You don't deserve to look at me." And they're, yeah.
And these are the camp counselors.
Yeah,
It's not our teachers, right?
Yeah, not our teachers.
Where were our teachers?
I don't know. Then another camp counselor sneaks up to me, and like they start pulling people away from the group. They're like, "Come on, let's go," because we were gonna go like run away to freedom, right? So we go and we like walk through the woods, and we go down past the river, and we find like a little house. We go inside the house, and one of the counselors goes, "Oh, the plantation owner's coming with his guards. Quick, get in the cabinets." So we all got in cabinets, and they came in. "Where did these slaves go? Have you seen these slaves?" And they're yelling, and yeah.
They're all wicked in character.
And yeah, looking back, it was definitely weird. There was some kids in my class of color, and they were like crying, and they didn't.
They were crying?
Yeah, and then there was some other. I think there was a couple other kids of color as well, and they opted out because they told us in the beginning, like, you don't have to do this if you don't want to do it. So even if you didn't want to do it, then like you might do it just because everyone else is doing it. Like,
Did they have something fun for an alternative? I don't remember that part. I feel like they didn't. They really wanted you to
They
do
really
it.
wanted you to. Oh yeah, they made sure they let you know.
They explained
wanted you to
why
do
they
it.
were doing it. They wanted us to experience what the slaves experienced. They wanted us to understand this really happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they truly thought this would benefit us.
For some reason.
I mean, I just feel like it's too young. I think if we were a little bit older, I just think 10 is very young. We're already away from our parents. It's nighttime. It's the woods. You guys are strangers. And it's our last night. And we just came off of a dance party high where we were being like little kids being innocent. And then all of a sudden you were slaves literally 5 minutes later.
Yeah. And there's kids that don't take it seriously, and they make fun of it, and it's just like, and why would they pick that, instance in history? There's so, like, I don't get the point of it. There's so many terrible things that has happened in our history. Like, just to pinpoint that one is just, it's random, and why would they pick that one over other ones? There's been genocides, mass genocides. Why are we just picking this one? It's just...
Yeah.
Like,
That's
and
true.
why do we even need to pick any? Why do we need to introduce
Yeah.
this to young, pure, innocent children? I don't get it.
Well, I think that's the point. Is there's this one side that says if we never talk about this, it's like it's never happened.
Yeah,
And
but
they
there's
want to keep people remembering where we could potentially go. We need to remind people that this is not okay all the time. But then the other people say, well, if we keep talking about it, it's not going to help. We need to move on.
Yeah, but there's a time to be an adult, and there's a time to be a kid.
Yeah.
And the kids can't really comprehend things that adults can.
Yeah, 10, that was out of pocket. We were 10. And the best part about this, guys, is Nature's Classroom is an experience that your school can sign the 5th grade, well, at least in our town, the 5th grade could be signed up for Nature's Classroom. So our school took the initiative to sign the 5th grade up, and our parents had to pay $300 for 5 days, 4 nights. Our school actually paid more for the slavery experience. And I can't believe that, but they did. That's an add-on package. We found out from other people that they did do Nature's Classroom in the 5th grade, but they did not do the Underground Railroad because their school opted out of that. So our school specifically wanted us to go through that. I'm having a hard time really grasping if it was that wrong, or if because I can see how it could be educational, but at the same time, it's just, we were so young. And there's other ways, you know. I believed it happened. We didn't have to do that. I believed it.
I don't think there was anybody there that was doubting that it happened.
We were 10. We were just like, okay, like, we believe you. They're like, no, you don't. You don't get it. We can reenact, like, good moments in history.
Yeah.
I feel like this number sticks out in my head. We ended at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, probably.
And then I remember my friend crying herself to sleep because she was so scared. And there was grown men yelling at us, and that was very unsettling for a lot of people that are triggered by grown men yelling at them at home. Apparently, teachers would tell the parents that they were playing hide and seek. A lot of parents were not informed that happened and were shocked. And a lot of parents never even found out because the kid didn't think anything of it. Like, oh yeah, it was fun. You know, like Jay goes to school and he barely tells us about it. Yeah. So a lot of parents, it went right over their head, and little did they know they paid extra for their kid to be a slave. We don't know if it's still going on.
Nobody knows. I feel like Nature's Classroom is like a cult.
Yeah, it was giving creepy, freaky vibes from the start.
It was a weird place looking back.
The only thing is, they did this thing every time we ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the cafeteria, and everything we did not eat, we had to put our leftover food into this bin, and then at the end of the day, they weighed all of our food, so all of our leftovers, to see how much food we wasted. And a lot of the times, everyone was like shocked, like, whoa, we just wasted so much food. And so the next day, we'd always try to beat that, to the point where I think one day we had no waste. Mm-hmm. Did you ever get no waste?
I can't remember back
I think
that far.
We did. So
the
it was called the Ort Report, and that stuck in my head forever. And because of Nature's Classroom, because of that Ort Report, I try so hard not to waste food because I did not realize how much food we were wasting. And it ended up actually making kids sick. A lot of kids would do eating contests, like who can eat fastest, who can eat the most, because they didn't want any Ort. So it did backfire a little bit, but. So that's the one positive I got out of it. And as I wasn't like homesick. I was actually enjoying not being home, honestly. Yeah. I feel like there's no way they do this now because 10-year-olds, they're not the same as they used to be. They don't people don't even do sleepovers anymore. Like, that's controversial. Are you going to let Jay and Rose have sleepovers?
Yeah.
Really? Because sometimes people make me feel that I'm a bad mom for letting a sleepover happen. And I've never let one happen yet. Jay and Rose only have sleepovers with their grandparents. As I hope that's not controversial. That seems ridiculous if it is. But they've never had a sleepover with another kid at anyone's house, of course. Like, they're way too young for that. But, I mean, Jay, he's approaching the point where it could come up soon. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta know the parents. I gotta, know that, I gotta know the dad. Personally know the dad. Especially if it's Rose. And
no, Sean, I don't think that it's really especially. Little boys can be targeted just as much as girls.
Yeah, but how often? It's so rare.
I don't know, Sean. I think it's more common than you think. They just don't speak out as much.
Okay, well, we're thinking worst case scenario. All I know is if I wasn't able to sleep over my buddy's house when I was growing up, my childhood would not even nearly been as good as it was. Because that's where I branched out and I had a little freedom and expressed myself.
You found yourself through those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And
you,
then when
you may have done bad things, but you learned.
Yeah, I used to sleep over at my friend's house, and then we would walk to the basketball courts. We would walk around town. We would have so much freedom. We would ride our bikes because we'd all go play football or whatever. It's that's what you're supposed to do. That's how you grow up. That's how you become a man or whatever. You have to go through those times. So.
And something that sticks out in my head when I think about sleepovers is, I heard this somewhere. I don't know if it's true or maybe it was true and it's not anymore. But one of the number one ways you can predict an abusive household, guess what that is? Looking at a family, a household, what do you think is an indicator you can predict that there could be some abuse going on? Just by looking at the household. Not talking to anyone.
They're not smiling?
No, that is not it.
They look scared?
No. No. You're misunderstanding. I'm just saying, okay, maybe I worded it wrong. I'm trying to say that the number one way that you can predict abuse, any kind of abuse, is if there's a step-parent involved. Abuse is way more likely to happen if there's a step-parent in the house.
Yeah, obviously.
It's not obvious. Some people don't think of that.
Well, the step-parent is like, you don't know, like, their motives. They could just be there for the mom. They don't give a shit about the kids. They could just be there for a place to live.
Okay, well, that is very extreme, Sean. I'm just saying that that's a red flag to look for when someone's asking me to sleep over. I need to see how new is the step parent, you know?
Yeah.
It's very scary. Step parents can be scary because they're some of them aren't even parents at all.
Yeah.
And they're brand new. And like you said, they could just be there for the wrong reasons. And I'm not trying to like make a bad rep for step parents at all. There are so many that are literally save kids' lives and become the parent. But it sucks that statistic is true, and I know it's true because I've seen it firsthand many, many occasions.
The biological parents will do anything to protect their kids most of the time. The step parents, you know, they might be just shady people, but
But so can real parents, obviously.
Yeah, but like she said, the stepdad or the stepmom can be like the best thing that ever happened to a family.
Well, I actually had a step parent, and I didn't know why nobody was allowed to sleep at my house. I didn't realize in the moment. I remember calling my friend. I specifically remember calling my friend Juliana, asking her to sleep over, and she said, "My mom said no, but you can sleep over my house." And I was like, "What? That makes no sense." And then she said, "We can even pick you up." I'm like, "So you have a ride, why can't you just sleep over?" And I remember calling my other friend, and she said the same thing. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And then recently, actually, one of my friends told me, this girl wasn't allowed to sleep over because of your stepdad. And I'm like, oh. And that hurt a little bit. I'm like, damn, that makes sense though. Like, I totally understand it. But it makes me sad looking back that actually went against me a lot. And I had the type of stepdad that remained extremely distant my entire life. He was in my life for 25 years and I'm 27. So when people hear that, they think, oh, that's like your second dad. But no, he remained distant from me. I don't know any more about him 25 years later than I did 25 years ago. It was actually very impressive how he maintained a distance for 25 years. So I think a lot of parents notice that, like, who is this strange man that's not a part of your life, but he lives in your house?
Yeah, it's a red flag.
And it really sucks that, because he wasn't abusive. He didn't want kids, so that showed. Like, he treated us like he didn't really want us there. And there was a lot of fighting. He didn't know how to interact with us. He didn't understand how to approach any, he didn't know how to confront us. We were always fighting with him, like, always fighting. Like, when I was a teenager, it was every day we were fighting. So that worked against me in many ways, and it made me not be close to my mom because she was married to him. So I know that if my friends were allowed to sleep over, like, he would have just left us alone. He was not abusive, but now I know why, and I wish I had a stepdad that acted like my second dad.
Yeah.
Sean has never had a step parent, so he doesn't understand.
I don't have a step parent. Friends didn't really have step parents. If I wanted to sleep over at one of my friends' house, if my mom met their mom one time, she would let me sleep over.
Back then it was more, it was way more lenient.
And I get what you're saying. Having a step dad there is definitely, like, it can be like an indicator of, okay, well,
this is not safe.
It's not safe because, like, we don't know who this guy is. He's like an
Strange
outsider.
man.
He's a strange man.
And your kid is sleeping
He's
there.
not like a biological father, so he lives his life a little different than like a biological parent would.
Yeah.
And I can totally see that, but then there's other cases where people won't even call their biological father dad, and they'll call their stepdad dad.
Yeah.
Like my dad has a stepdad. Well, he had a stepdad growing up, and that was the man that really, like, shaped his manhood and taught him how to do a lot of the things that my dad taught me how to do, like all the woodworking, all the plumbing, all the electrical work. He kind of taught
So
him how to
your
do all
dad's
that.
stepdad had an impact on you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He died when I was in 5th grade, but he was awesome.
I had a stepdad, like I just said, that he had a perfect opportunity to swoop in and be my dad because I was only a baby when he entered the chat. So like he could have very well been my dad, and my real dad wasn't stopping him. He probably would have liked it, honestly, because he wasn't involved in my life that much. So, and it still kind of baffles me that he never really did.
Yeah.
He liked me up until I turned like 8. And then he was like, I don't know what to do with this. You're a little girl, and I don't know how to interact with kids, never mind a girl. And so when I started like talking back, he just thought I was like evil, you know? And then he completely turned on me. I felt like he hated me, and I felt like I was living with someone who hated me, and I hated that feeling, and that's why I hated being home. It really sucked that it turned out like that. And I hate that I'm not trying to give step parents a bad rep. Like, of course I'm not. I'm just saying, according to statistics, and if you want to protect your kid, then you can look at statistics.
If you are a step parent, just know how like big of a like opportunity you have to impact the kids' lives, and don't take it for granted.
I also had a stepmom, and she was never like I looked at her as a second mom, definitely, but I never looked at her as a mom. She was always definitely like a second mom, but she provided an entirely different perspective. And because my mom was very like a masculine energy. She looks feminine, but she provides masculine energy. And where my stepmom came in, and she was so feminine, and like she wanted me to do her hair, just her energy. And she introduced me to so many different things and just a different perspective. And I learned a lot from her. And of course, I learned from my mom, but it was just, they coexisted. They didn't like each other, but they coexisted in my world, and I never had to choose. And I'm lucky they never, actually, did they? Yeah, they did hate each other for a little bit.
They definitely had to have hated each other.
Yeah, because my dad left my mom and then married my stepmom, and then they had a baby. But something that my mom did is when my stepmom had my little brother with my dad, she stopped on the way to the hospital for us to meet my little brother. My mom stopped and bought my stepmom flowers.
What?
Yeah, she did. And I'm like, and I didn't think anything of it then, but now that I know that, I'm like, that was a very strong thing to do. Like obviously she said it was from us, like me and Sam and Courtney, like, you go give your baby brother flowers. But it was just very strong.
I wonder why she did that. I can't see her.
She was being nice.
I can't see her doing that.
Me neither, but that shocks me. I'm like,
she must have had some kind of a
motive. She poisoned the flowers.
She's like, Gary, you'll see how nice I am when I do this.
Yeah, you're right.
He's gonna want me back.
He's gonna want me back. What do you think another red flag is for sleepover?
If I like crack a little joke and the dad doesn't laugh.
Sean, I think that's just you feeding your own ego.
Nah, because if you can't do an awkward laugh, then you're weird as fuck. Really? Especially if it's like two men talking, and I'll say something and I'll like say something funny a little bit, even though if it's not funny, it could be like a dad joke or whatever. If the dad's not giving you like the pity laugh and like ha ha ha, you know, then if he just like straight faces you, it's like, all right, this guy like has like
sucks.
People in his basement, like this guy.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, I mean,
you gotta feel the vibe. You gotta feel the vibes are off. Don't let your kids sleep at that house. Trust your gut.
But people are really good at faking it, and I feel like I'm really all talk right now. Like I want to let Jay and Rose have sleepovers at the same time. I can't imagine dropping them off at anyone's house for like 2 hours. Never mind an entire sleepover. I just feel that I think me and Sean struggle to like really make connections with other parents right now, because we're always the outliers. We're always the youngest ones, and it's so hard to make a connection with other parents, and like I don't really know why. I didn't think our age would hold us back that much, but it kind of does.
They like to label us just by looking at us, you know? But we're actually like, if you get to know us, we're like really cool.
Well, there's a few people I would let them sleep over at. as of right now. I hate to say it, but it really comes down to the man in the house.
It comes down to the man, because females aren't.
They're not
They're not gonna abuse a little kid.
Especially
They're not
a mother.
going to.
A mother, 99% of the time, is not going to abuse the child. Another indicator that we have to remember is an older sibling, because kids can abuse kids.
Yes.
And they can also introduce them into an entirely different world, and that's very, very, very scary. And I wouldn't be surprised if someday Rose wants to have her friends sleep over and they see that she has an older, the parents oh, she has an older brother.
Yeah.
And then what if he has his friends over?
Yeah, exactly. That could be a thing too.
That's why we have a basement and we have an attic and there's 2 floors in the middle, because we're gonna lock someone down here.
Yeah.
We're gonna lock the boys down here.
And if we kind of get the vibe that Rose is being held back from that, we could always tell the parents, oh yeah, Jay's going here tonight with his buddies, so we thought we could have a sleepover for the girls here, you know.
You mean lie to them? Or actually show them?
No, we could.
We could send him to his grandparents.
We could pick a night that if Jay's gone,
yeah,
we
that's
could
true.
be like,
we could we'll just send him to his grandparents. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Do you even think he's gonna want to do that at that age?
Of course he will. Jay, I think they're gonna see, okay, this is Jay, this is freaking Grandpa Jay, of course he can sleep there. You know what I mean?
No.
The parents are gonna know Jay.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It's weird how some people, that obviously random people recognize us, but people in our own lives, don't even, they have no clue. They don't follow it at all. They, forget.
Yes.
All the time.
It actually shocks me how much TikTok and my real life almost never interfere with each other.
No, me
It's an entire different world over on my phone, literally just on my phone. They get the wrong idea, oh, this is so sad, your whole life's on TikTok, you're sharing your whole life, and it's almost the complete opposite. It's it has nothing to do with my real life. Yes, every once in a while people will stop me in public, but people stop me in public all the time without knowing about TikTok. They say, oh, your baby's so cute. Oh, people talk to strangers all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not it's that different from when it used to be. When you have a baby, people stop you a lot just to tell you how cute they are. They want to talk to your kid. They want to compliment them. It's all the time. 90% of the time when people talk to me, it has nothing to do with TikTok. It's just a stranger that wants to talk to my kid because they're cute.
I feel like people I know purposefully don't watch us because they don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to bow down or give us clout or anything.
Really? That's an undercover hater. I don't think that.
Oh yeah, and there's I have plenty of friends that don't even have social media at all. And they just completely ignore that Julie has over a million followers on TikTok. But I don't care.
Sean's so mad.
I don't care.
You need to acknowledge this right now.
It's funny. I told my buddies, we went to a Celtics game. There was 8 of us, and I was kind of joking, but I was kind of serious, and I was like, hey guys, if I get recognized, don't think it's crazy, because it happens. And they were like, oh no, dude, what are you talking about? You're not famous. What are you talking about, bro? And I was like, okay. Right as soon as we get into the garden, there's 4 girls that run up to me. Oh my God, you're Farmer Jay's dad. And I was just like, what's up? And they were like, dude, that was crazy. I can't believe that happened. He's like, are those paid actors? What? And I was like, dude, I'm telling you, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
And, wow, Sean, I had no clue, it was like that. And I was, so maybe
when
you
we
should
go
follow.
to a place where there's a lot, a big crowd, then 99% of the time somebody says something, or I get a DM saying, I saw you here today, I didn't want to say anything. That happens a lot. Yeah, I'm you can always say something. It's never once been oh my God, this person's so annoying. That's never happened yet.
The best one was me, my dad, and Jay went to the Garden this year for a C's game. And leaving the Garden right after the game, there was these 2 girls, and one of them goes, oh my God, it's you. And Jay's like, what? And he's got his little gold Celtics chain on. And she's like, you are so cute. You are such a good boy. And Jay's like, Daddy, what's happening? And my dad, of course, is like, whoa, Jay, because she's a young, cute girl.
Oh my God.
And my dad's like, whoa, Jay, you're getting all the ladies, huh?
He doesn't get that close.
Yeah, and she just was like, I want to give you a hug. And I was like, oh, sorry, we got to go.
We don't do hugs.
And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, Jay, say hi to her, though. And he's like, hi. And she's like, oh, stop. She was like kind of like fangirling. She might have been like drunk. But it was wicked funny. I was like, thanks, we got to go. Some like random bystander was like, he just thought that she was doing that because Jay was like a cute young kid. And he looks at me and he's like, yup, take advantage of it while he's young. Wicked easy way to pick up chicks when you got a cute little guy like that. And I was like, what, dude? Like, get out of here.
Wow. So yeah, it's to answer a lot of people's questions, people always want to know, does Jay know he's TikTok famous? Yes, he knows. He doesn't have much opinions on it because, like I said, it doesn't interfere with our real life. And now that he's older, I'm not like constantly trying to make videos with him because he's conscious enough to understand that that would be annoying for him. Whereas with Rose, I take videos of Rose all the time, whether I'm taking a video for TikTok or just my personal self. In conclusion, Jay knows.
He doesn't even care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't talk about it much. People will be like, oh my God, Jay, do you care? Like, do you know? And do you like it? Do you like being TikTok famous? And he's like, yeah. He's very indifferent about it.
Like when the guy, he was painting some rooms for us, and he goes, famous, and Jay goes, famous, and like it's like a thing they do whenever,
he did say that.
Yeah, whenever they see
Did
each
you go,
other.
Jay? Famous.
Yeah, this guy, he's awesome. He comes over and he paints.
That was cute.
We hate painting.
A lot of times people will just get mind blown by it. And they'll just look at Jay like he's just like a star. And
Jay
then
is a
like,
superstar. He really
Jay
is.
has been a star long before TikTok. Like we have had little fans around town before TikTok because he's always been just so different. And people notice that and he's so special. Even as a baby, people would just freak out of how cute and smart he was. And they would remember him everywhere we went, and he's just used to it. He's born different, and people have always recognized it. And that's why it's funny, it translated through TikTok so well.
Yeah, he's just so unique. Usually a kid wants to be a Spider-Man or a Batman. Jay's like, I'm going to be a grandpa. Yeah. And I want a little wig, and I want a little smoker, and I want some overalls. He's 4. He's like, he's puffing on his little pipe.
He's so cute. I wonder what Rose will be like when she can talk like that.
Yeah, she's going to be like, I want to be a grandma.
Yeah, she already is giving grandma vibes, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like we have Jay 2.0 with Rose.
Yeah, she's almost exactly like him.
Rose is just like Jay.
The only difference...
She's so smart, too.
Yes. The only difference is that she has more emotions, which is to be expected because she's a girl. Jay was so indifferent and unfazed by almost everything. That kid never cried. But also at the same time, he didn't have an older sibling trying to take everything from him. He had everything. So that may be a part of it. Maybe he doesn't have less emotions. Maybe he just was an only child.
Yeah.
But I definitely think Rose is a little bit more feminine. That's the only difference.
Obviously, she's a girl.
I know, but she's a baby, so I just didn't expect it. Yeah. I didn't expect it to come out so young, but she's such a girl.
Yeah, she is.
All right, well, that is it for today. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next weekend. Stay tuned. Hopefully TikTok doesn't get banned. We're going to say a prayer.
Say a prayer. Pray.
Dear... I don't believe in God, so I'm not going to say God.
Just pray to Buddha.
Okay. Dear Buddha, please
Dear Buddha with your big belly. I wish I could rub it right now.
Yeah, we need that luck.
We should get a Buddha.
Okay, so please, please keep TikTok. We need TikTok. We need that. We need that shit.